Hola. Oh my god, it feels like I haven't done this in forever. How are y'all doing? It's your girl Moby, and this is the Moby Sugars Croonings show. It's been a couple of weeks, I believe. I believe our last show was on the 14th of August. Yes, before we went on a break. So, but we are back. We are absolutely back. And thank you all for being a part of Croonings. Got your messages. Hey, Dupe, how you doing, baby girl? Got your messages. I absolutely missed you too. And yes, for those that asked if I got enough rest, yes, I did. I got plenty of rest. I did nothing but sleep like no man's business. Hey, cool cat on Instagram. How are you doing today? Today we're coming to you both. What the heck is it? Both on Facebook and Instagram. And for those that are just joining the show for the first time, my name is Moby, and this is the Moby Sugars Croonings show. On here, we talk about love, life, the good, the bad, the uglies, and everything in between. There is never any topic that's off limits for us here on Croonings. We talk matters of the heart, and this is season 8, people. Like season 8. So basically, how we count our own seasons is every time after a vacation or after a hiatus or after a break, when we come back doing full effect and all of that kind of stuff is what we call seasons. That's our own seasons. So accept us as we are. This is not Netflix, it's not your local TV, it is Croonings, and we like to just do our thing as we do it. Anyway, Trey, like I was saying, hey Arit, how you doing, baby girl? F1. I see you on Facebook as well. Adelugba Tukumba, hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining our live show here today. Lovely to see you all. I have missed you guys, so like I'm not even playing. I have absolutely missed doing this. I did not I honestly did not think I would miss it this much, but I did. This is gonna take some getting used to this kind of breaks, man, but we'll discuss this as time goes by. Hey Mayowa, how you doing? Interesting topics, thank you. We would love to hear from you what you would love us to talk about. We talk about relationships basically, and we bring it up here in the hopes that somebody could learn a thing or two. Hey Obina, hey bro, how are you doing? So me I come on laugh at some mini car. My word, see, I'm still bribing you, so me I'm bribing you. I'm not even playing. I'm seriously bribing you. I'm not trying to cover my bribe. I'm totally bribing you. Somebody should please let me beg Auntie Somi. I think I'll beg you. So, what are we talking about here today? See, as you refresh, oh, Jesus Christ, Obina, how is he doing, you brother? Hey, Arit Sissy, how you doing, sis? Thank you so much for coming on. I would encourage you, or rather, I would beg or plead or ask a favor of you folks as we're here today. Thank you, Somi. Thank you. I appreciate. I would ask a favor of you today. Since it's been a minute, that we've been on Croonings. In case somebody missed the flyer or the notice and the flyer that Dupe put up as well, please do me a favor. Can we help Croonings share that we are back on today? Share the video so that we can I don't know how he's doing my English. I was gonna say so we can invite. This is what happens when you play too much with your vocabulary. You actually mess it up for real. Like, really mess it up. Anyways, like I was saying, share the video, invite your friends, family, and, folks around you so that we can have a conversation. Now, remember that on here, we talk about the good, the bad, the uglies, and everything in between. And last month, hey Annika, hey Boo Boo, how you doing? I miss you already. Can you imagine that? I totally miss you. We need to hang out again. Lovely to see you. Hey Alex, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in on the show. So, before we went on our break, we had a very, very interesting month of July that kind of spilled over into August. We had 5, 6, damn near 6 weeks of the sex topic. People of the Lord, that topic we are doing once a year. I see Asima Sisi Arit, she's got her sexy September going on, and I always look forward to September with Arit because man, she be dropping some major nuggets, man, and I really appreciate that Arit does that. If you do not know Arit, please get on her page and see what she does for sexy September. It is some beautiful stuff. Now to the topic at hand. Oh, by the way, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your participation. Thank you, sis. Thank you so much for that. For your participation throughout the years from 2011 when we started as a tiny something, and then 2014 when we took it on Blog Talk Radio, and here we are 2020 doing this still. Without you guys, we would not have Croonings to do, okay? And talking about which, and I think this topic we're doing today, I believe it is actually very apt. Yeah, so sexy September with them. I believe it is a very apt when it comes to, I see you guys as you join on Instagram as well. I am not ignoring you at all. Thank you, Tolutun. Daytola, Miami, Folias. Let me see who else is there. Okay, cool. Cool Cat and Mayowa as well. I see y'all as y'all on there. I am not ignoring you at all. So please feel free to comment in the comment sections of either Instagram or Facebook as we go along in our conversation here today. And if you would, it's an open call show today. We're not, we don't have a guest today. We're just coming back. So we're trying to get back into the vibe of things. 2 weeks is a long time to forget how to do this. Believe me, it really is a long time to forget how to do this. But today we're talking about stigmas. Stigmas, yes. And I think it is a very apt and appropriate. I guess that's what apt means. I think it is very appropriate that we'll be having this conversation today, because as of, I think it was this time last week, or about this time last week, we started to grieve the loss of Black Panther, or we're about to start to grieve the loss of Black Panther. And it is amazing to see that folks, when he lost weight, when he looked gaunt and all of that, a lot of trolls, a lot of Twitter folks, a lot of Instagram folks started to bully him and question his weight loss, question his appearance. And instead of being loving human beings, being concerned citizens, or just being quiet, he was tagged all sorts. He was tagged all sorts to the point that a few of his pictures and a few things that he posted up on his personal profiles on Instagram and Twitter, he had to pull down out of being called out of being called names, out of being treated in such a way that was probably dehumanizing. Jesus, my words. That was probably dehumanizing for the poor guy. And a lot of us might say, oh, but it's not a big deal. He's a star, you're a popular person. If you're in the public face, well, you must be able to take whatever it is that happens to you. Yeah, I get that. Doesn't make it right. Now, let's even bring it back home. You're not a popular person. You don't have a world stage, but you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have your social media, you have your social, groups here and there. And all of a sudden, somebody calls you out for something. I'll give you an example. And for you guys know that I love to personalize my examples so that it's very relatable. I'm chubby right now. I am comfortable in my skin. I had to be comfortable in my skin because it makes me feel better about myself for the most part. And I'll tell you this, there was a time, two times in my life, that I went on a major crash fast diets. I think for a fact that is one of the reasons why I'm very, very wary of diets, because I when I get into that space, that mind space, I lose that weight so terribly, so quickly, that I look gaunt. And the last time that I went through that type of weight loss, I was in college, and the first thing that I was told was, Moby, do you have AIDS? What is going on with you? And I'm looking, AIDS? What the heck is wrong with you? And this was from friends. This was from my peers. This was from my classmates. This was from people that I know, I walk with, we hang out. Now, to them, it might have just seemed like a flippant statement of, Kilo Share, what's wrong with you? Do you have AIDS? I mean, we went on holiday and then boom, you've already lost all of... I worked out and I watched my weight to the point where my waist was a 19. That was the smallest I have ever been in my life. In my life. In my life. But at that point, I know Iris AIDS Lasson. But at that point in Nigeria, for that matter, you hear AIDS and the Yoruba translation for AIDS is Arutio Lyso. What is that? Somebody please help me. Arutio ni, like, basically it translates as an illness, a sickness, a disease that has no cure. So hearing your weight loss being compared to AIDS, for me, it was so painful, it was so hurtful. And that, I would say that was a moment in my life where I subconsciously went like, thank you, Dupe Arutio Logun, God bless you. Yes. So hearing that in my head, I think I subconsciously took thank you, Maiwa Arutio Logun, exactly. I subconsciously took on that. Yes, Anike, Arutio Gbogun. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Y'all know that my Yoruba is useless. I saw Tio Gbogun. Thank you. Oh, bro. Hey, bro, Shina, you're here today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. I am flabbergasted that a superstar is on the show listening. Thank you for that translation. Yes, Arutio Gbogun. I saw. Thank you, guys. Titis Shontan. Sis Detala, thank you. Lovely to see y'all. Honestly, I am so lovely. As I say, I'm so lovely. I'm so happy to see y'all on the show here today. Thank you for that translation. Yes, and hearing that, and I'm going, I would never in my life ever want to be this thin again. If this thinness is similar or reminds somebody of an AIDS patient, where I'm compared to that, and maybe that was where of course, Bogatu did it too. Let me not lie. Bogatu did a lot of this fat. I can't even lie about that at all. And my love for food also did a lot of this. But I am comfortable. I am more comfortable like this than if I am ever slimmer. That is what stigmas do. That is what calling people names do. That is what being insensitive humans do to people. It makes you want to create an atmosphere of shame for yourself, within yourself. You're not being comfortable in your own skin, in your own voice, that you now have to create this whole persona to fit somebody else's perspective. But what about you? Now, what is stigmas, or what are stigmas? Let us go into the definitions of stigmas. And in the process of preparing for this show, I was actually surprised at the definition, the history behind that word, and I'll share that with you real quick. And basically, the basic definition of stigmas, it says is, I went to find my notes. The basic definition of stigma is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. I'll repeat that again. Stigmas are known as a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. So something that stands out about you, something that stands out about a particular situation, something that stands out about a particular quality of something, a mark. That is what stigmas are. Now, going further into the etymology of that word itself, in the 16th century, this is a part that really blew my mind. In the 16th, and I'll read your comments as I just give out this definition real quick, guys. I'm not trying to ignore you or anything. In the 16th century, late 16th century, it says denoting the definition of a stigma is denoting a mark made by pricking and branding. Now take those two words, pricking and branding. Now break those two words further down. Look at the word pricking. Prick yourself, that thing hurts. When animals are being branded, it hurts. It burns on their skin. It's basically a permanent tattoo on their bodies to identify them either as this person's property, that person's property. Now, when we go back to a mark of disgrace, a brand of disgrace, a prick of disgrace, that is what stigmas end up being. When you stand around, call people names, when you stand around, be insensitive, when you stand around not understanding somebody's circumstance or why or what makes them in a particular way that you don't understand, just because you don't understand. I mean, African Americans say something that if you have nothing nice to say, shut up, be quiet. No matter your brilliance, no matter the savage, there's a reason why I speak against savagery. There's a reason why I don't practice savagery. Are there times I want to be that person? Lord Jesus, yes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not standing here trying to be a perfect person. No. I am not standing here or sitting. Well, I'm not standing. Actually, I'm sitting down. I'm not sitting here trying to be perfect, okay? I'm not sitting here trying to judge or point fingers. But the thing is, if what we're saying here, if what I'm saying here, you find a part of you practicing, it's not to call you out, it's a moment of recall. It's a moment where we need to sit back and be like, whoa, I have done that, I do that. And that shege is not right. It doesn't feel good. So I'm hoping that as we go forth in this month of September, picking out stigmas, looking at examples of stigmas and breaking the types of stigmas down and seeing the places that we're wrong and we have actually stigmatized another person, or we might even find out that we are stigmatized and not know it. Like I gave an example of myself. My own people called me out. My own people called me out in the name of jokes, in the name of, oh, maybe if we, say something, let us be brutally honest kind of thing. See, that phrase, brutally honest, concentrate on the brutal. That's not honesty. Okay, now going back, let us see what folks have been saying. Thank you all for the translation for that word AIDS. I said people can choose to be whatever weight they want. Amen, sister. This is the weight that I choose and I'm comfy with it. Absolutely. Whatever it is, I will always lift them up because this world is cruel. The universe doesn't need me to add to that. Amen. Effa says, folks don't know the weight of words. They just blurt out stupidly, honestly, and that shit hurts. And the funny thing is, this is my take on words. Okay, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm being very Yoruba-ish today, but there's this Yoruba phrase, adage kind of thing that says ento shu any shuti bagbe, and there, but something about any toko issue, I mean toko, something like that, never forgets. Basically, translation, the person will shit, you don't forget say shit, but the person will pack that shit, now you go to remember that smell for a long time, and the thought and the irritation. Imagine you go to the bathroom, you do number 2 and you forget to flush. Now you done did your thing and you're gone. Now somebody else that comes in and sees your doo-doo, now that memory Ẹ̀yin lóhùn. Oh no, I think you're not done with what you're saying. Like they finish that Yoruba for us. You know, yes, please, Bible, please help us again. I'm sorry, I feel very Yoruba-ish, but my Yoruba is not coming out. So please help me. Thank you so much. But the thing about words, going on what Effa says, words are very weighty, very, very weighty, very, very weighty. And we might say, oh, I'm just joking, or it doesn't mean anything, but me, I joke around like that a lot. You can joke around, but man, shoot, what if that thing is actually a prick? What if it reminds them of an insecurity? What if it puts an insecurity? And you, oh, that's another one. No, egg have pregnancy. Really? I did not know. Like I be Anike, sorry. I am not sure. I don't think I've heard that one before, but I'd love to hear more about what you're saying right there. Okay, so Arid says, you know how many said I look like a man because of my muscles, even as I created myself. Well, now I even define the muscles, girl, self. Now they are the ones asking if I work out. Don't listen to humans, for you will just confuse yourself. Whoa, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Honestly, I cannot even imagine. And it all should thank you, Anita. Thank you, Sister Lee. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Let me read it for you. As much as my Yoruba is useless, I can actually read it. Ẹni tó ṣùtì gbàgbé, ẹni tó máa kó gbẹ òkì ń gbàgbé. Yells. That's what I'm trying to say. Dupe, stop shouting over there on Instagram. Behave yourself, my friend. Any which way, yes. That is absolutely the ẹyin low egg has voice. Ẹyin low as in. Like you have to call in. I'm not understanding this Yoruba. You have to say this Yoruba. Let me hear it. I'm not understanding it. Absolutely. I'm being a mess. I guess I just miss your face. I want to see your face. So you call him and come and tell us what it is. But yes, it's not egg have pregnancy. Its words are I see what you mean. Yes, Dupa is saying the same thing on Instagram. Yes, she says it's not egg have pregnancy. Its words are eggs. Once they break, they are broken and cannot be put back together. Yes, I get what you're saying now, Nike. Absolutely, I get what you're saying now, sis. I'm so silly. Pardon my lack of Yoruba understanding. Please, no vex. Just pardon me. And yes, I absolutely agree to what you're saying. It is something that I hold on to as well. I try as much as possible to be careful with my words. Not in the sense of walking on eggshells. No. But I try to put somebody else, other people, in my shoes. Before I say something insensitive, I try to imagine if that is said to me. Now, have there been times that I've said insensitive things? Jesus Christ, yes. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh no, my words are crisp, my words are loving 247. You say lie, don't anybody that tell you that is a bloody lie and a lie. But do I catch myself? Am I conscious of those times that I use or I say insensitive things? Absolutely. And there are times that I'm not even, maybe I'm thinking it's not even insensitive, I'm just talking. But once I've been told, maybe a friend tells me, Moby, you said this to me and that really hurt my feelings. Well, I should not be like, I am the worst critic of myself. The fact that I honor the fact that my friend tells me that, but then that would be, I from that moment on, I am cautiously and consciously making sure that kind of word, that kind of scenario never replays itself again, because I am not one that wants to continually hurt people. Now that's me. How are you doing on that end? Do you consciously remember things like that? Do you have relationships, friendships whereby somebody tells you that, hey, you did this to hurt me, that did not feel good? Do you strike back at them and be like, what's wrong with you? Somebody cannot play with you. I know we do this on social media, but then we do it within friends. We do it on not serious things. I want to imagine, I hope I say that to my friends when I know that they're joking, when I'm actually sure they're joking. Now, if I'm not sure they're joking, and I'll give you an example, I think it was Terry Adido. He had posted something a while back, and I responded or commented on that post. And for 5 seconds, right after commenting, it seemed like he was offended at that. And I wasn't quite sure if there was offense or not. Instantly, I went inbox on him and I was like, bro, yo, now play the play. I'm so sorry. Like, I instantly saw that, oh, this could be taken the wrong way. And that is the way I hope to be with people. That is what I work at being actively in my interactions. I never want my words to be, there's this verse in the Bible that says, do not let your good be evil spoken about. I'm very, very conscious of my words. I'm very, very conscious of, like Arit said, not adding to the wahala of the world by stigmatizing somebody, either jokingly or seriously. Let me see what folks are saying. Instagram, I'm coming to your comments as well. Bro David additional said, I think it is bullying. Yes, the people that do it also have their part of their lives that is messy, and the moment you hit back at them with that, they want to bring the world down. That means they know what they're doing is bad. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Oh Lord Jesus, man, bro, yes, you are so correct with that statement. It's like, and there's this phrase that we use time and time again. It says, hurt people, right? But at the same time, I think it was yesterday that I posted something, a meme recently that I saw in the last week or so. She said, hurt people. Yes, we're tired of that line. People make choices. I choose not to hurt people, not because I have not been hurt, but because I'm making that conscious choice. Can we do that? Can we decide to do that? Now, everybody's hurt. Don't even get that story twisted. Everybody done hurt, but then can you choose another thing to do? A phrase says, of all things to choose to do in life, if there's anything you should, choose to be kind. That being said, hey Mos, how you doing, baby girl? Lovely to see you. Instagram folks, Dupa says we can be better communicators if we consciously speak with love or try to. No trying to explain away their feelings. Absolutely, baby girl. I agree with you. Now let us go to our topic of stigma for the day. Having given all of this background talk and samples and examples and scenarios to what we're talking about, today we'll be dealing with the stigma in the area of health. We will be dealing with the stigma in the area of health. And you'll be wondering, what's Moby talking about? Our community. This is our community, okay? Can we be real? Can we speak like heart to heart? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear from somebody, I think I'm depressed? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? I really love to hear from, y'all. And I want to imagine that we are folks with loving mindsets. So maybe our answers might actually be very, very, it might be what we're going to conclude on at the end of this conversation. But imagine, or let me put it this way, 5 years ago, in this same space of ours, social media that we are on, when you hear from somebody, oh, I think I'm depressed, or I'm going through depression, or I think I'm going to kill myself because, I'm hurting and I don't, I can't go through life again. I'm just done. I'm done. The first thing that comes to your head is, are you hungry? Is it village people? What is depression? How can you be depressed? Look at the way you are shining. How can you be depressed? Let me paint a scenario for you. My last depressive episode was 5 years ago. And at that time, nobody would have guessed it, physically looking at me. No, and when I say depressive episode, I'm saying pills in hand, ready to overdose, notes written, ready to send them in the email and be like, bye to the world. I was just done with life. 5 years ago, 2015. That was That was a year that rocked my life in ways I cannot imagine or even understand. In that period, I was in the communities that I was in, but I could not even open my mouth about what I was going through. That is a thing of stigma. It causes an atmosphere of shame where you cannot speak about what it is that you're going through, where you cannot speak or even reach out to somebody in the hopes of finding help. That is what stigmas do. Of course, I'm Niger. So in my own head, in my own mind, I'm looking, who's going to understand that this girl is going through depression? Who's going to understand that in this very moment, or at that very moment while I was in that mind space, that I had pills, I had eaten my last meal, in quotes. I had eaten my last meal and I was just ready to go. Who would understand that? Who would understand that the Sunday before I led worship at my church, that I was going to then, jumping up and down like a mad human being, excited and in worship and all of that. But then a few days later, I was ready to just end it. Who would get it? Nobody now. How can they get it? From where to where? They will say, Sister Moby, how can you? I don't have the Spirit of God within you. I remove the spirit of depression. That's the first responses you get. I'm not saying that those responses are not great. You can have those responses in your spirit. But while the person is going through what they're going through, hey, Ife, how you doing, baby girl? Lovely to see you as well. A long time no see. While all of that is happening, who would, I'm the one that was encouraging and pushing people, doing all of that, making sure that, folks are having their lives put together, hyped and all of that. But I was going through a bout of depression that I could not express with another soul. Now check this. I was finally able to express it subconsciously. I didn't even know, and I guess it was just life's journey for me to be on that path. Finn had just started that year, and it was probably one of my first posts on Female in Niger, and the conversation was around depression. I think somebody had asked the question, what was depression, or how does one deal with depression? And I responded basically what I was going through, but I had not thought about it, that I did not know how deeply, ouch, tickle similoju. Hair up, enter. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't go under my contact lens, or else I'm gonna be blind today. I was trying to express my perspective of what depression was for me at that time, and I was still deeply in that dark space. And for a moment after I wrote that comment, I was about to delete it. But then I started to get questions and reactions and responses to that comment. And for the first time, I felt seen. I felt heard. And it was in a community that was not the community that I was. It was a new community totally. It was a community that I was like, whoa, wow. You mean there's no judgment? You mean nobody's looking at me like I'm crazy? I used to write a lot of dark things. My journals from times in past was dark, like mad dark stuff that I could not share with anybody. I was too afraid because I did not want to be stigmatized as, it's as if that girl have a lot of demons inside her head. But then the moment I was able to stop writing it out and speaking on them, I found people that could appreciate and accept what I was doing, what I was writing, what I was saying, and where I was speaking from. And then I found those I did not understand. And I was like, you know what, that's fine. My peeps recognize me. The pains of beauty. Wallahi, the pains of beauty. The contact, I'm not removing it. That hair will stay there, be laughing at me. It's fine. Let me see. Anita says, 5 years ago, I'd have said you can overcome it, Joe. No, be just depression. Sister, exactly. That is the kind of response that we get when we hear people talk about depression. Now let me paint another picture for you. You see a child with Down syndrome, or with a physical ailment, even in 2020, and I'm not talking just Nigerian community here, I'm even talking out here in the Western world. And this for me is a huge stigma. It's one that I see because I work in the field of mental health and I work with adults with disabilities. And I see folks stare. I see kids stare. I see people stare. And I'm looking at them like, what are you staring at? You want to come say hello? Come and say hello. We can speak. You'll be surprised that we are not just Abirons, but we can actually speak. We can actually do things for you. We can give you a hug. We can, make you smile. Something. Do something that you cannot do in your sane mind, with your sane outlook and perspective to life. But guess what? We have that stigma of having a child or a family member. I know folks that would not let their kids out in public because of fear of how people will treat their kids. I know folks that would not speak about a developmental delay of their words, of their family members, of their children, of their siblings, because of the way the community would react to them. I have heard from folks that are like, Down syndrome. No, that's not my child. I'm giving that child up. Actually, this reminds me of an incident that happened, I think it was last year or the year before. I was sharing an experience of seeing some things growing up, and it was with a child with disabilities. I was sharing it on a group and just trying to educate folks, hear people's perspectives, kind of like what we're doing here on Croonings, but it was in a group. And just having a conversation, trying to see people's mindsets about these things and how to address it, just educate folks better. And I was talking in the area of Down syndrome, autism, ADDH, and things like that. And somebody had responded, giving an example of a home in Nigeria where they house these kids with disabilities, that he felt really, really sad for them. He visits them. We're friends. We're still friends. Me and the guy are still friends. But when he said what he said, well, I felt like killing this guy. Anyways, he said that when he goes there to visit, that he feels really, really bad. That was the point of having those children live. Why not just kill or poison all these children? That why are we letting them suffer? Why? And I'm always poised, I'm always composed, I'm always in the zone of compassion and love and all that loving things. Wallahi, this day I couldn't do it. Nah, I went ham on this brother, both on the group and privately. I went ham on him. Like, how dare you? How evil-minded can you be? How evil-minded, as in, I went ham on this fella. And in my mind, I thought I was trying to educate him. That was me in my mind, thinking that it was an educational, but I was too mad, I was too upset, I was too much in pain to see why that would be his response or his line of thought. So because you give birth to a child with disabilities, or kids with disabilities are put in a group home or in a setting where folks, that are professionals can care for them properly, why the heck are you going there to visit them? Yes, he said that. And that was the way he saw it. He did not understand. And it's surprising you, right? That's how I felt. That's exactly the way the surprise and the hurt was for me. Because I'm looking like, how dare you? So because your child is autistic, or a child is autistic, or a child has a physical deformity or disability, the next best thing to do for that child is to kill that child, because that is a better path for that child. Like, how does that even make sense? But you'll be surprised that this is the mentality of people. there is that stigma around looking at folks or having a child with disability or having a family member with disability. Yes, there is that stigma. I'm sharing some extreme things here so that when we come to the end of our 4 weeks conversation, let us take a look in our own lives where we will be like, ooh. And I used to say that, I did not think that it was that serious. So it is serious for some people. It is very, very serious for some people. And you might think, yeah, to make himself look good, like, hey, I'm better, hey, I'm healed, hey, I am, this is me right here. But guess what? I actually take to folks with disabilities, like, I really, really take to them, because for me, they are the most special group of people on this world, on this earth, on this planet. Totally. They where their minds are, you and I, our minds can never get there. The dimension rather, or the alternate reality, alternate universe that they are in, for those with mental effects, that alternate reality, you and I can only imagine to be there. That shiggy, that place is beautiful. It might seem crazy, it might sound crazy, it might look crazy, but that place is beautiful. Now, how are you looking at yourself right now when it comes to stigmas? You might be like, oh, well, I've never said such things before. Let's paint another picture right here. A couple have been married for a while, 2 years, 3 years. Guess what we do? The popular thing that we do, bump watch, as if our lives depend on couples birthing. Bump watch. Now the thing is, we think it's all, you're wishing them well. Well, okay, yes, you're wishing them well. Now this I've been very, very guilty of, okay? And I'll be honest with you, I have been guilty of bump watching myself. A young couple gets married, or they're together, and you're looking at them. They married in January. December, nothing yet. We're not coming to ShopRite. Another year have come. Another December. When are you going to born Junior now? When? We start counting. We start asking. We start bugging. When you go born, exactly, my sister. A friend of mine on Facebook, my namesake Omobolanle Adeyemo, posted up recently about her stigmas and the name callings that she received. Young lady, she just married. Why the heck are we bump watching for the woman now? Why? I mean, I am looking at what she's sharing, like, people in 2020. In 2020, like they said earlier, people are still doing these things. Like, why do we feel the need to make somebody feel less than they feel, or less than who they are? We don't know their history. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know their challenges. We don't know what it is that they might be struggling with in their relationship or in their marriages. But guess what? We want to come and shop rice. Our year bump watchers. And you think, oh, but I'm just wishing them well now. What's wrong? Yes, I thought I was wishing people well. Matter of fact, mine was even bad. It was not even a young couple. She was my age. No, I think she's like a couple years older than me. A friend of mine here in the cities. We're at church together, and the poor lady just had a bump. Her stomach. Like I do, fat. Maybe that's why God has come and blessed me with this fat that I have in my stomach right now. But the poor friend of mine just had a bump. And I'm like, sis, how far along are you? And she goes, I'm not far along anyway. Wallahi, I was praying and wishing that the ile swallow me, the floor open and swallow me that day. Now it might have seemed like, oh well, maybe it was a good thing I was wishing her. Maybe that was not even in the cards for her. She already had 3 kids at that time. Me, I was just overly excited, like, booms, I've carried again. But I could see the look on her face. That there was that shame, that embarrassment of, oh shoot, is my tummy that big? And I felt stupid. I felt terrible. That was the last time I ever bump watch anybody again in my life, because I felt her embarrassment and I felt embarrassed for that nonsense spewing out of my mouth. Sheba should have just shut up and, if the belly have round properly, then we can all know that yes. Or if she goes, hey, I'm pregnant, then we can celebrate it together. But in our community, in our culture, we do these things. And then we put pressure on these couples to have kids for us because we want to come and eat jollof rice. Are we the one that is going to go and pay their school fees? Are we the one that is going to cater for them, nurture them, and do all of? Is it us? But we are the ones chasing and begging folks to born children for us so we can come and do party. As if COVID is not enough to teach us a lesson that we should sit down in our place, in our homes, and mind our own businesses. As if it's not enough. But still, in this same COVID year, people were still stigmatizing my namesake in Canada. Bump watching for her. I mean, I saw some extremes and I'm like, Kilagbe. When did they marry that they're already chasing the poor lady to be having child already? Why? Do you even know their story? Do you know their plans as a couple? Do you know what they wish to do, to be as a couple? Do you know what they're chasing? You not put them under undue pressure. Even the ones that have already born one, you not be asking again, when is Junior coming? Really? Kilo man, what is wrong with us? And then to not make matters worse, if they have not had a kid in 10 years, we start looking. Who has the problem? Is it the guy? Is it the girl? How many abortions did she do? Abi you have erectile dysfunction. Abi is sterile. Abi is a... we start stigmatized just because they don't have an offspring between them. We start to create a scenario in our heads. Now, if we create these scenarios in our head alone, it's fine. But we start to share and express these scenarios either directly at these people or begin to peddle stories to other people about that couple. We do that. I've done that. It is not a very good place to be, both as the doer and the receiver of these things. Let me see what folks are saying out here. Femi says, yeah, Anita, you done born. Exactly. Femi Shamal, hey bro, good to see you. Femi says, I met a woman last weekend, 27 years marriage, had a boy. She's 53, 27 years in marriage. Whoa. Now, do we know their story? Oh gosh, that just gave me goosebumps. Phew. Do we know their story? Do we know what she's been through? Do we know what 27 years? That's a grown adult. That's an adult out of the home already. That is an adult out of the home, totally. Anita says, the one that annoys me the most is when they tell them from the altar wedding venue, we will come for another celebration in 9 months. So, which kind of foolish pressure is that now? Why do we do this to ourselves? I've heard that. I heard that at my previous wedding. I heard that. And yes, was I bump watching for myself like no man's business? To the point that after 1-2 months of marriage, I was like, hey, all the postina I've used, Jesus, have I spoiled my womb? I put myself under unnecessary, undue. Duke said my goosebumps gave her goosebumps. I put myself on. This is months into a marriage, and I'm sitting here bump watching for myself. For myself, I'd not even started to enjoy the wedding. I mean the marriage. I was busy bump watching for myself. The 3rd month, I had to go like, Moby, calm down. This will happen when it happens. And that was the month that I took it, because I was just like, ooh, okay, whatever. And at my moment of taking in, I was like, hey, thank God I can be pregnant. Shit. That was, but you see, that pressure was in my head, that shame of and of course, people, as much as I was bump watching for myself, folks were bump watching for me as well. And we have friends at church who be like, they'll be start to touch, your body. Moby, how you doing? When are we coming to shop rice? Be coming to shop rice, cook the rice in your house. COVID has made all of us stay at home now. Cook it in your house. Let us Zoom party and watch it all together as we are eating. Nonsense and poreros. Stop the stigmas. It doesn't put people in the right places. You might say, oh, it's tough love. No. The trauma that it causes down the line is actually worse than whatever it is the people might be going through. Femi says, I want to rant. Someone said to me, your daughter is starting college. You'll be a granddad soon. Why? I'm not understanding. Are they threatening you? Or they're threatening your daughter? Or, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. Are they the one that want to marry your daughter and make you a granddad? Or how is it doing them? What is that undue pressure? I'm not understanding, Femi. If you could call as we round up our conversation here tonight, because I'm trying to keep it, this is a new year, it's a new season, so we're trying to be very, very serious on our conversations and keep it to 1 hour. But I really want to understand what you said, and I'm using both of my devices, so I know I saw a message come from you privately, but I cannot go there to read that message right now. So if you could, in the next 9 minutes, real quick, call in on the show. You could request to be on video, or you could call the number 651-502-5570 on WhatsApp, and I would like to hear what you mean by they want to make your daughter they want to make you granddaddy real quick because your daughter is going to college. I am not understanding. Some people's calling is to escort other folks' life. I Efwa says, I don't understand it. Like, I do not. How much are we putting marks, pricking and branding other people that we're not looking at our lives? Absolutely, Omo Igbeans, I get what you're saying. And yes, you're just joining. And that's what I had said in the beginning. Sometimes these things are good things. They're prayers. It is their desires and their wishes. But the thing is, the pressure rather that it puts folks under is where the struggle becomes a wahala. It is where it is now like, oh, okay, for the satisfaction of, this person, let my friend stop bugging, let my mother-in-law stop bugging, let my sister-in-law stop, insulting and abusing me. I mean, I have a friend that her in-laws told her, auntie, maybe like after 7 years in marriage, and they had been looking for kids. After thanks so much, Miss. I appreciate that. After 7 years in marriage, they have been looking for kids. She had been coming out here every year, working with specialists and doctors, and IVF after IVF after IVF after IVF, and it wasn't sticking. And there was a time they had a family function, and my friend is yuppie chick, always doing things. And she loves to celebrate, she loves to party. And she was at one of the family functions, and at that point, one of her in-law goes, sis, now wow, this one, sure you don't know that you should, all this one that you're celebrating as if you're one young woman, you should have already dropped like 2 or 3 children all these years. Leave this, your dancing and all of that for the younger wives that are coming into the family. And I remember her calling and crying and weeping. Like, Moby, when will God answer me? When will God answer me? And that struck a chord, It always starts out with good intentions, Tony, like you said. There's good intentions behind it. Now, like me, when I saw my friend Booms and I was like, you're pregnant? How far along are you? It was good intentions. I was happy for my friend if she was pregnant. But me and my big mouth. But my friend just had a big belly. That was all it was. I think God has used that thing that I said to my friend that time to now come and bless me. Because now I have big belly. Now if somebody should look at me and say, Moby, how far along are you? I would just remember that conversation that I myself had with my friend. I said it from a good space, but did it land in a good space? It did not. That is why, we're speaking about these things. I mentioned one thing earlier, erectile dysfunction. I want to touch on it real quick. You hear that somebody's got erectile dysfunction rather. We need to learn a good comeback line for Nigerians when it comes to all of this, I know. But you see, the thing is, I don't think it's about having a good comeback line, and I could be totally wrong. I think having conversations like this, I think putting ourselves in other people's shoes, I think educating ourselves about things that we don't understand. We did not understand depression 10 years ago in a Nigerian community. We still do not understand folks with physical disabilities, mental disabilities. We still do not understand folks with health challenges. I mean, what is it with our men with not wanting to visit the doctors? There's still that struggle in our communities. I think what we need to do is have more of these conversations, educate ourselves more, put ourselves more in other people's shoes and be like, oh, that could be me right there. Now, if that was me or is me, how will I handle it, and how would I want people to accept me or see me or take me? Some people don't want to be educated. I know, sis. We just we just need to show them how they are treating us sometimes. I know, sis. I absolutely know. See, that statement about people not wanting to be educated, oh Lord, do I know it? Do I know it? And going back to this guy that I gave an example about earlier, that I went ham on him. It was hard getting across to him. Matter of fact, I was so pissed off. I couldn't bring myself to speak with this guy after what he said that time. I could not bring myself to even look him in the eye because I was disgusted. I was embarrassed. I was pissed off that I was even associated with somebody that looked at kids with disabilities and said, why are they being kept alive? Why not just kill them? Why not just poison them? I was totally disgusted that I even knew such a person, honestly. And I know that sometimes it's going to be hard to be able to educate folks. But somehow, that education needs to be put out there. I started this conversation here today by talking about my weight, my body size. When I was my smallest and my slimmest, I was told that I looked like I had AIDS. That is another area of stigma. You hear that somebody has AIDS, HIV. Even in this year and in this time, in this era, where there are management pills and management treatments and all of that, we still find folks that look at AIDS, I wonder what they did, they must be gay, or they must have been having sex up and down, that is why. What if it had nothing? What if their contraction of AIDS had nothing to do with sex at all? What if they were rather unfortunate? Maybe they work in the health field and had a needle prick with an AIDS patient and boom, they got infected. Just what if? What if they had an open sore and went to the barber shop and there was cross contamination with somebody that had AIDS and that's how they got infected? You don't know that story, but we are quick and ready to think. The first thing that jumps in our heads when we hear, oh, an AIDS patient is promiscuous. You see, when they tell you not to be having sex up and down, when they tell you not to be, but you will not hear. But that's the first thing that always comes to our minds. Or the second thing, they must be gay, is a punishment from God. Instagram, we have 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining, and that is my timer to let us remember that we're at our 1 hour mark of our conversation here. This topic is very, very exhaustive. Now, today we only took on the health, both the mental health and the physical health. Thank you, Maya. Thank you for being a part of the show. Appreciate that. And please be sure to join us next week as well, because we're doing this for the next 4 weeks. We'll be touching on a lot of areas of stigmas in our lives, and I hope that we can hear from you as we're doing here today. But yes, let us think about these things. It is going to be hard to educate folks, no doubt, but one way or the other, we will have to do our part. And if it is part of finding a comeback, like Arit said, we will have to find a comeback. Somehow we will have to find a comeback that would put people in a space to be conscious of what comes out of their mouths. But then in the interim, I will say, let us be able to talk about these things openly. Let us be able to educate ourselves and others about these stigmas. Let us be conscious of our language. We need these things. Encourage equality between physical and mental illness, meaning your headache is the same thing as a depression. The fact that it needs a treatment makes it something that needs to be worked on, not something to stigmatize another person for. Instagram, thank you guys. I'm gonna lose most of you right now, all of you right now actually, but pot over to Facebook as we conclude on our conversation here today. Thank you for everybody that joined in. See you next week.